is this movie a sequel to Jungle Cruise in any way? I just have to know.
For Jungle Cruise's sake, I hope
God,
not.
I hope not.
Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like I've got to stand up and give you my review for The Smashing Machine, based on the documentary series on HBO starring the real-life Mark Kerr.
Who?
The Rock. I'm sorry, Dwayne Johnson, because it's very hard to get that moniker out of your head. Honestly, it's great that Dwayne Johnson has dumped that title of The Rock like a bad girlfriend, because he doesn't need that anymore. He's a different man on the screen. Now, I've got to say, before this film started today at my local Cineworld, I was greeted with the Christie trailer, played by a very different looking Sydney Sweeney, who's gone to the Charlize Theron School of Monstrous Transformations to bulk up for the role of a female fighter, also set in the 90s. There's a new trend I've noticed in Hollywood now, folks, and yes, it's not superhero movies because we're getting sick and tired of that. Girl boss fatigue, Lord knows we can't wait to get rid of that because it's like a bad itch that won't go away. But now I'm seeing actors and actresses who want to be taken seriously. They're doing this whole thing where they want to be in dramatic scenes to capture the hearts and minds of the Oscar Academy in the hopes that 2026 we will start taking them seriously going forward. And I feel that's what Dwayne Johnson is doing right now, because look, between him and John Cena, when it comes to wrestlers turning into Hollywood icons, The Rock wins every single day of the week for me, because John Cena is not really much of an actor as we even speak. Now, to bring you up to speed on this film, folks, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, and neither did I until I started doing a quick bit of research, it's set between the years of 1997 to 2000. The glory days, folks, to quote Bruce Springsteen. And Mark Kerr is played by Dwayne Johnson, competes in these Pride FC events in Tokyo, Japan, not the Pride that we know today, where he hopes to win that Grand Slam prize of $200,000 to make him and his girlfriend, Dawn Staples, played by the very effervescent and very reliable Emily Blunt. Oh my God, because again, when you're talking about the dream actress you want to represent you on the big screen, Emily Blunt definitely brings on the goods. The fake booby uplifts, the curvaceous cute bottom that she's always had, and the camera likes to linger on far too long for its own good in this film, and I'm certainly glad that it does. And by the way, people who say that Emily Blunt isn't used much in the film, no, I would say she's in about 60% of the movie. She's an actress. You don't dial her up and say, Miss Blunt, can you make a cameo, then piss off to the side, please? No, she will be there to earn her paycheck, and earn it she certainly does. Now, I've got to kind of warn you about this film as well in some ways, that it is not a very, it's a jolly romp to redemption. Yep, there it is. Nope, it's very dark in places. In some places, I just thought, whoa, what are these people doing? It's absolutely bonkers. But I want to break down the character study of Mark Kerr right here, because again, while you think it's a bit of a parallel line between The Rock's real life situation, where he's seeking redemption for some of the faux pas that he made in the last few years, bad movie choices, doing the same kind of character in the same kind of movie nearly, and then you got Mark Kerr, this once celebrated wrestler who actually paved the way for UFC and the big league superstars in that sporting franchise where everybody knows your name. But back in the day, Mark Kerr and Mark Coleman,
Who?
exactly, who were they? Nobody knew except Japan, because they had a big fan base up there. But Mark Kerr is a very curious character because he likes to start conversations with strangers.
Probably looking at my eyes.
How did that happen?
he's looking to be affirmed, as it were. And then as the film progresses, you kind of see that the actual character, the persona of Mark Kerr, is one who likes to play the victim. So when the tables are turned on him, it's not my fault, you're the one being a bitch. You do see this quite aggressively played throughout the film, and yes, a lot of it can be attributed to steroids. And I wonder if there's a bit of a message in this film here, because obviously we saw how The Rock bulked up to 60 pounds of muscle. Give or take the estimations for his role, he just looks like an absolute brick shithouse. But then obviously after that film had finished wrapping, we saw him lose a ton of that muscle. And look, I've got to be old-fashioned when I say this, but when there are certain guys on the big screen that I admire because they've got a certain physique I wish I had, I want them to retain that for as long as they can. And the only two people that have done that to my mind are Stone Cold Steve Austin and Sylvester Stallone. I'll say with the latter, he's had some ups and downs with his weight, but he's always, for the most part, looked a certain way, which I truly appreciate. But back to the main plot of this film, folks. Now, really, what you should take away from this is that because you got one of the Safdie brothers, Benny in this case, taking on director duties, like the first film that they did with Adam Sandler, is very much a documentary style feel. But one thing I could actually take away from this movie is that when certain things happen, it's not pulling you along and saying, oh, by the way, that was just a joke. No, everything that happens actually happens.
Basically like therapy in a way, if you think about it. You talk about what happened, and by talking about what happened and putting it outside, you understand a little bit about it.
Now that does bring me to another point of this film, because there are some dramatic moments where I think they're overplayed a bit too much. And the reason why I say that, because you kind of feel like the Oscar ceremony only takes films seriously if they have impactful moments. Now, if we're talking about one battle after another, that Antifa-inspired Leonardo DiCaprio vehicle, funny how it's about Antifa, but you got a white guy not only in front of the camera, but behind it as well with Paul Thomas Anderson. It makes me laugh that apparently people think that film is going to run away with the Oscars next year. Now, the Oscars used to mean something to me. Not for the last few years has it done anything but honestly, I would be glad if this film wiped the floor with that particular movie, because I don't want to see some black gun-toting pregnant mama mowing down white guys. That does nothing for me. I don't know Benny Safdie personally, but it wouldn't surprise me that he's a big fan of the Rocky franchise, because there is a sort of a semi-glorious sporting montage in this film, but they don't fully execute it. It's like they start it, then they suddenly dial back because they don't want to be accused of ripping off those great franchise montages. Look, when it comes to the Rocky franchise, okay, 1976 Rocky, that montage. Then 1985's Rocky IV. Oof, my God, you just cannot beat them. But because of the film's dark tone sometimes, it does lean in heavily more to the Jake LaMotta saga from Martin Scorsese's Raging Bull. Now, what do I think of Dwayne Johnson's facial transformation? Well, that reminded me of Castor Troy from Face Off, because I want to take your face off. That's my terrible Nicolas Cage impression, but you know where I'm coming from, right? Because, yeah, if you never saw the trailer and then you watch this film as a blind member of the audience, you'll be thinking, is that Dwayne the Rock Johnson? And yeah, it's good. For the most part, I'd say for a lot of the film, it's great because you barely forget it's The Rock underneath that makeup. I mean, I'm going to assume there wasn't much makeup that applied to him, but yeah, when you compare him side by side to the young Mark Kerr, it's pretty impressive. Now, the acting across the board is fantastic, even from the supporting cast. But I gotta say this much, when Dwayne Johnson taps into his childlike mode of sensitivity for some of the more intense scenes between him and Emily Blunt, Is he doing it for you? Is he doing it for himself? Or is he doing it for the panel of Oscar judges at the Academy of Motion Pictures and Sciences? I don't know, but it does make me wonder, right? Because sometimes you feel they go the extra mile on the script just to pen a bit more dialogue, because quite often when you do actually hear the way that Mark Kerr speaks, is he really that articulate, or are they just throwing in words like acuity? Because apparently Mark Kerr is a very well-read scholar. Now, of course, I've got to talk about the 15-minute standing ovation at the Venice Film Festival, which, let's face it, it's not Cannes, but it's the next best thing. Everybody teary-eyed at The Rock's performance. Yes, it's well-deserved, but also Ryan Bader, who plays Mark Coleman, Emily Blunt, powerhouse performance. They were all getting the applause, but the way they're spitting it, it was just for The Rock and The Rock only, and that's not the case. Mind you, Dwayne Johnson is doing the rounds, isn't he, in preparation for the campaign to get this film Oscar nominated. He did a 40-minute interview with CBS television. Haven't yet watched it. I hope I can, and I will, and I want to see how he comes across. He's definitely turned the corner, it seems, in his career. Will he keep it up? What will his next film be? Will he be a man talking to a chicken? Actually, that's true, because Benny Safdie has already drawn up an idea for a film exactly called My Best Friend's a Chicken, or something like that. And honestly, the Safdie brothers, you better watch out, Hollywood, because you got yourselves the brand new Joel and Ethan Coen. Forget the Russo brothers, nobody wants to work with them again. And the bottom line about this film, is it good? Yes. Is it worth owning on 4K? Absolutely, because I'm getting my very first, I know this is a joke, 4K TV and Blu-ray player delivered to my house tomorrow, so I cannot wait to get that all set up, and I get to buy things like Lord of the Rings in glorious 4K Ultra HD 8 more. You know what I'm talking about, right? I cannot wait. So I'm going to be proud to say that I want to add this film, The Smashing Machine, to that collection. Now again, I know nothing about Mark Kerr, have not seen the HBO 90-minute documentary. The reason why I highlight the running time or that, because this film is 2 hours and 3 minutes. And did it feel long? Nope, it didn't. Time actually trundled through pretty quickly. And the amount of people who produced this film, Benny Safdie, The Rock, The Rock's ex-husband, Danny Garcia. I mean, have you seen the amount of testosterone she's been drinking recently? And on that one, ladies and gentlemen, did you watch The Smashing Machine, or did you decide to get smashed before the film opened? Leave your comments below, smash that subscribe button like a big behemoth that you are, and I will catch you catching me for the return of the next video.
Next time on Kung Fu Hot Dog.